Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Capone, and I'm the founder of The Spinning Hand. And joining me today is Kanette Grass from Yarnette Hand-Dyed Yarns. How are you, Kanette?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. This is a very special conversation that we've actually never done this before, but I think we've known each other for at least 10 years.
At least, not longer.
So you're one of my favorite people, and not the least because we first met because you were on my email list when I first had an email list.
Somehow I wound up on your email list. I don't know how, but I did. I was just starting knitting, and you were needing test knitters. And so I did that.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Was it snowflake
But
knitting?
I don't know.
I,
I don't
you know,
know.
I have these little names for things, and I wonder if it was my snowflake knitting testing group.
I don't know, but I know I didn't do very well because I
I
was a
doubt
new
that.
knitter. So I didn't do well, but I stuck with it.
I'll say, yeah. And really like you were just my number one person for so many years. And you, together we have been through old iterations of the spinning hand, right? Carrie's kits.
There's kids.
Yep. And then last year we did KCU together.
Yes.
Yeah, knit and crochet you. And I remember we were talking before we started recording. I remember that you started sending me emails about dyeing yarn. And
Yes.
I remember I remember sensing the excitement through the emails and thinking, "Oh, she is obsessed." You know, you would send me these pictures and everything looked so jaw-droppingly gorgeous. And I just thought, "Oh, I mean, it's not my thing, but I will definitely knit what you have to sell."
You tried it though.
Okay, so I did try it, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but how did you get interested in dyeing the yarn?
I was watching a video on YouTube and the person was dyeing yarn. I thought, oh, that looks like fun. I bet I could do that. And I Googled and found an acid yarn dyeing kit.
Yeah.
And then I got scared because it was like you have to have all different pans, you have to have gloves, you have to have a respirator, you have to have all these things, and it's an acid in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is I don't want to do it. So I let my kit sit there for probably about 5 or 6 months. And then I just decided to try it. Actually, my husband has a friend that he used to work with and on Facebook, she had posted some yarn she dyed. And I was like, you didn't tell me you have a friend that dyed yarn. Can I be her friend? So her and I became friends, and she actually got me over my fear and explained to me it's not that big of a deal. And so I did food coloring first. And my husband helped me, and we were in there one night in the kitchen dyeing yarn with food coloring, and it turned out so pretty. And then I read more about the acid dyeing and got into that.
Oh my gosh. And then what did it take for you to transition from doing this as a hobby to saying, I need to sell some of this?
I had so much of it. I had so much of it. I was never going to use it all. And and I had like you, who you have been my mentor.
Oh,
So you get so much of the credit. You and some other friends in the knitting community saying, I would buy this, you should sell it. And so started considering that seriously. And I was talking to my daughter and my granddaughters, and one of my granddaughters came up with the name. And
it's
so that's
perfect.
how Yarnette became.
That is so, so great. And I'll post this under the video, but while we're talking about it, how can people find your yarn online?
I'm on Instagram, Yarnette Hand Dyed Yarns, and also on Etsy. I have an Etsy shop, Yarnette Hand Dyed Yarn and Fiber.
Brilliant. Okay. So I'll make sure to put that underneath the video too so people can find you. Um, and yeah, let's talk about the really fun, but to me, a little overwhelming day where you taught me how to dye yarn.
It was a little overwhelming because it was a crash course.
Yes, and you were the nicest teacher. Um, I think I think I learned really slowly. So I don't know if you know this, but I didn't learn how to purl for like more than a year after I learned how to knit.
Who needs to purl anyway?
I know, like when I found out that you could knit in the round and never have to purl, I was so excited.
Yeah.
So, um, so when I first came to your house, and you were so gracious, so I was visiting Dallas for the first time,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hey, do you want to get together?" And I think you said something to the effect of, "Yeah, do you want to learn how to hand dye yarn?" I was like, "Yeah." So, your kitchen was transformed. It looked like a mad scientist lab.
Yes.
So, how long does it take to set up that whole situation?
It takes probably about half an hour
Yeah,
to get everything out. We have racks in the garage that I store everything on. So to get everything out and to get surfaces covered and everything, it's probably close to about an hour to get it all done.
yeah. And I was also surprised at how
Half
many
hour.
bottles of different options and different dyes there are. Now,
Yeah.
did you start out like with a few acid dyes and then like just like with yarn, it just kind of like
Yes.
expanded? Yeah.
It multiplies on
It
its own.
multiplied.
It's in the garage, and the next thing I know, it's like 5 bottles, and then all of a sudden I have like 30 bottles. I don't know what happens.
And so, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but how do you come up with different inspirations for your colorways?
Some of them are things I see. Like I have a series of Texas wildflowers. And we were going back and forth from our house down to New Braunfels where the grandkids are. One spring there was a family situation and we went down several times. And so my husband and we go the back way. We don't go down 35. We go a different way that's much prettier and less traffic. And we would be just pull over and we would take pictures of different wildflowers. And so I would, get those on my phone and blow them up and everything and would,
Oh.
get the colors and mixing the colors to match. That is takes a while. And sometimes it's a hit or miss, but it's a lot of fun. And so that's one way. And sometimes it just pops in my head. Yeah, I woke up this week and I told my husband, I go, okay, I need to get this, and this because I want to try a new technique and this is what I'm going to do. And so, sometimes it just pops in my head.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And sometimes you have a crazy person like me, and I'm like, okay, I have this idea, and can you make it happen? And I know we've only just started collaborating a couple of times, but so far you've been very accommodating.
Oh, good. Well, it can be challenging at times.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I go through a lot of mini skeins.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I use for my testing.
Oh,
And so I have a lot of mini skeins that I am crocheting into an Afghan. So
love.
it's very colorful because I love color. I like bright colors.
Yeah,
And so
you're in the
it's
right industry.
yeah. So it's fun and it's challenging at times. And sometimes it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But you just kind of take a little break and get back at it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And if you think of it, definitely post a picture of your Afghan in progress because I would love to see all those minis.
Oh, I will. It's
Okay.
pretty. It's not very long yet, but it's
Yeah.
pretty.
Um, and what's an example of like a challenge that you faced where you had to just sit back and take a minute?
Um, Actually, on that the blue from the hat and fingerless mint kit that's coming out now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Was that blue or was that a
The
purple?
deep purple.
Yeah, the deep purple, that was it. The
Yeah.
deep purple was a challenge
Yeah.
to get it just right without too much black in it,
Yeah.
too much red in it.
Yeah.
Um, and it took a couple of days to get the correct formulation, but I'm pleased with how it turned out.
Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled with how it turned out. And so, speaking of which, that was a lovely segue. Yarnette and the Spinning Hand, we are collaborating for our first 2025 hand-dyed yarn knitting kit subscription club. So, on Monday, the cart opens and you can get two skeins of hand-dyed yarn, a silk screened project bag, and beautiful stitch markers that are made by my friend Verna from Pine Cones and Pearls, and the pattern by me. And so I will put the link below, but if you look at thespinninghand.com, you can get more details about that. We have a very limited supply, and we've already sold 25% of our spots, and the launch hasn't started yet. So I really need you to get on over and check those out. I think we're closing the cart on the 20th of January. So we just have a short number of time, and we're also bringing them to Vogue Knitting Live, which is the weekend before the 20th, which is Martin Luther King Day and Inauguration Day. So there's a lot going on, and I don't want you to forget to get your kit. It's a quarterly subscription, and so once you sign up, you'll get the January kit, and then the next kit is coming up in April. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but Kanette and I have some beautiful yarn worked up for you, and I'm working on a really cool pattern that I think you're going to love. Um, Great. Well, Kanette, thank you so much for your time today.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
And
And thank you for all that you do with the kids and the knitting community.
thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
bye.